Stanford versus ASU, Friday night, Sun Devils Stadium. Sun Devils with a nice win over UCLA, shutting them out in the second half. Michelle, what's some of your takeaways from that UCLA victory?
I think the biggest thing for me was the resiliency of this team. There were several points in that game where you thought, okay, it's going to go south really quickly here. And every time that seemed to be about to happen, ASU flipped the switch and did something phenomenal. You're talking Kyle Soley getting ejected for targeting. They were already thin to begin with. Other guys stepped up and made plays. You're talking a 7-minute drive. You're talking Eric Gentry, true freshman, making a huge stop on 4th and 1. And then ASU responds with a 96-yard drive, 7 minutes, that basically was the nail in the coffin for UCLA. So I think the resiliency of this team and the way they just got things done when things didn't look good, and that's something they're going to build on moving forward.
Kent, a really solid win for the Sun Devils against UCLA. What was your takeaways?
Yeah, some of the same things as Michelle. That whole sequence when they stopped them at 4th and goal, and then to turn right around and go 96 yards. To me, though, that encompassed some things that I was waiting to see from the Sun Devils. They played good defense in the second half all season long. They did again there. And then you saw probably their most efficient drive of the season and their most important one. We saw them run the ball. We saw Jaden Daniels' maturity. I thought it was interesting. They said later, they gave him the option a lot of time to change plays at the line of scrimmage based on what he saw. I think that resulted in a couple of the long plays. They were able to get downfield. That's putting a lot of responsibility on a quarterback, but it's something Jaden Daniels should be able to handle at this point in his career, and he came through. But that whole sequence, to me, I look at it and despite all the other mistakes ASU made, that shows you how good this team could be this year.
Michelle, how does Jaden Daniels take the UCLA victory and move it forward? We talked about that being, one of his best games, certainly in the last couple of years.
I think that he's developing a trust with his wide receivers. I think you could see that growing over the last 2 or 3 games, but I think it was really evident in this game. I think Ricky Pearsall is kind of emerging as that guy, and we've been talking about that for about 2 years, finding that guy that's going to make the plays. And he just seems to be on a better, path with the wide receivers, and that's something that comes with time. We know that in last year he didn't really have that time to develop that, but I think that his poise, his confidence in his receivers, and their confidence in him is showing. And when you look at what they've got in their ground game, and now all of a sudden the passing game is emerging too, it's a pretty formidable offense now.
Kent, they take this offense and now they play Stanford at home on Friday night. What are you looking for from this Sun Devil team on Friday night?
I think they're going to have to show some patience against Stanford. I think the way UCLA plays defense, coming at you with a lot of pressure packages, throwing a lot of guys at you, gives the opportunity for some deep plays and some big plays, and ASU handled that right. It seems to me, and I haven't seen Stanford a ton, that they're a little more conservative defensively, maybe more like a BYU, that you're gonna get shut down occasionally, and you've got to be patient enough not to force the ball and to punt the ball and let your defense play and do its thing, which it's done really, really well. I think getting the running game going, obviously, and we saw last week what a difference Chip Trainum's made. ASU had the depth to come back or to play well, semi-well. He was out, but he adds just another dimension. But I think this is going to be more of a test of toughness and will than, say, playing UCLA was.
And Michelle, the Stanford defense is giving up 400 yards of offense on average. I mean, that bodes well for ASU. What are you looking at for ASU against Stanford?
I'm looking more for balance, and ASU has had that when you're talking the running and the passing game. I think they're going to be able to run the ball on this team. And I have a hard time thinking, both teams are coming off a huge win. So a lot of times you say, okay, you're coming off a big win. Are you going to have a letdown? But, Stanford's kind of in the same situation. They're coming off a huge win over Oregon. I just think consistency and building on what they've already done is what I want to see, and I expect them to do that.
Well, we're looking for consistency and predictions here. And so let's see if we can rebound from last week. Kent, what do you think about this game on Friday?
Okay, I think that people should stick around for the post-game handshake between Herm Edwards. because David Shaw, the Stanford coach, was one of the critics when the news broke about ASU allegedly bringing recruits into the dead period. It was unique for an opposing coach to go on record as being critical of that. So that's always interesting to me. But yeah, I think how does ASU follow this up? It's an important 3-game stretch with UCLA and Stanford and then at Utah next week. It's only October, but they can really build on what they did last week, which was, become the front runners for the Pac-12 South. So, and I think they're going to do it. I do. I think they're just better than Stanford, but I think it's going to be 27-21.
Michelle?
Okay. I'm going to go 32-21. I think ASU wins this pretty convincingly. I think they've got a lot of firepower. Stanford did lose one of their leading wide receivers. I think he's the second leading wide receiver on the team to a pretty horrific leg injury. I don't think he's going to play this week. So I see ASU building on this. And Utah's a big game next week, but Utah also plays USC this week, and that could be a good game. I don't see ASU misstepping here.
Okay, well, we'll find out what happens Friday, Sun Devil Stadium, Stanford, taking on the Sun Devils. All your coverage on azcentral.com.